Welcome to the Wangzilla channel. My name is Will, and today I'm going to do just a quick little video on the Xploder, my second gen Ford Explorer. It's got the 5.0 all-wheel drive. I've had the car as my project car on and off for over 10 years now, and I have a lot of cool things planned for this. Today I'm just gonna kind of go over my backup camera setup. It's a little bit different putting a backup camera on these than, say, a sedan or a smaller vehicle, because it does have the lift gate hatch or whatever, and getting a backup camera set up to go with that is a little bit more involved. But I have more things planned for this. I do plan on dipping the entire car. I'm going to kind of give it a good sand job on some of the peeling area, and a couple little small rust spots and little small dings. And I picked up this dip your car, I think it is, or dip your ride or something like that, advanced plastic dip sprayer setup here. Super cool. And I plan on spraying the car maybe with a satin or something like that. I'm not sure what color setup I'm going to go with. I kind of do want to still keep the two-tone, maybe a bronze or you know, something like that, and maybe then a darker color on the trim, you know, the fenders and whatnot. But that's one of those to-do things. And I have another bunch of stuff I need to do on this car. But what I wanted to cover real quick was my backup camera system. Actually, I'll take you back here and show you. I don't believe a lot of cars have this, but kind of a cool little, it's a license plate bracket. It mounts behind your license plate, and then it actually sits in front of it and gives you a nice backup camera view when you put your car in reverse. Now, it only works with an aftermarket radio. Of course, you can't use your OEM radio with that. And go ahead and hop in the car here. I'm not going to actually even need to start the car up. I have it on a tender. And this is, I believe, a Boss Elite radio I picked up from Crutchfield. Nothing fancy. This is a project car. Ignore the broke up trim and the ugly microphone. That's all getting removed and replaced with a new fancy nicer one. And so yeah, if I go ahead and put it in reverse, car's not on, but it can be on or off. You can see my wife's EcoBoost Mustang right behind me. Nice clear picture. Of course, it's not, you know, 4K HD or anything like that, but boom. And it has some you know, compatibility of putting the lines, the grid, and some other stuff, which allows you to kind of customize it. Now, like I said, I'm going to make this a very short-ish video. And then, as I mentioned before, as a camera, and then I was going to give you an overview of how I set everything up. If you, in the event you would like to put a backup camera on your second gen Explorer. Now, I'm not going to disassemble everything because that was a pain in the ass. But to go over it, you remove this interior trim piece right here. It just is held in with clips. You want to remove, I believe, this and this to get in there fully. But this whole trim piece is going to come down. Nothing crazy. And then you'll be able to access right here. If you look how I have this set up, I actually ran the wire through the license plate mount. I put a notch in it and was able to feed the wire through here behind the license plate light, which then gets you back in here. And then the hardest part really was you have a power and a video wire, and then you have to kind of fish them down through the inside. The metal, it's going to actually be the metal here, and it's going to go all the way down through here. And then I actually ended up feeding it back up through here, and I notched the trim piece here, and then dropped with just enough slack with a wire into this headliner here. And then it's tucked up under the headliner, but if you peel back here, and then you want to pull, or either peel back or pull off this interior trim piece here. I believe I was able to just fish it down here, and then if I can get this open here. And then I was able to drop it down through here and down and around. Actually was able to feed it through. You do need to really pop this trim up, at least maybe not fully, but you wanted to get it up high enough so you can lift it up and look what you're doing. But then I was able to feed it through the grommet. Give you some light. If you can see here, see the two red wires. The red wires, these are actually, I ran the power wire. I fed it out through the little grommet that the wiring for the taillights goes through. And then I'll go ahead and pull off this piece, the taillight, real quick, and I'll show you how I have the power wire for the backup camera, because it has to have its own power wire and video. So let me pull that off real quick. Here's the rear driver's side taillight. I just took the two screws out, and it just popped straight out with some, you see it has little metal, almost like screw clip type things that attach here and here. And I went with the driver's side because that's just how, when I ran the power, ground, and the video cables, it just all worked out that way. And of course, if you ran it through that side of your hatch, tailgate and tail lift or whatever, then you probably would go to the passenger side tail light. But since I went to the driver's side, this one works out. And I mentioned before the two red wires, it's a power and a ground, but I ran out of black wire, so I used two red, and I just marked the ground. So I made sure I indicated which one was ground, which one was power, so I didn't get those confused. Of course, if you had red and black or something like that, you would want to use the appropriate type of wiring. And the wiring that came with the backup camera, I think it was shorter, so I just soldered on the cable, the wiring at the end. You want to tap into the reverse light. So let me clarify. The reverse light, so the camera only needs power when you put the car in reverse. And of course, you'll get power to your reverse light when you put the car in reverse. So that'll work to power the camera when you put the car in reverse at the same time. So that's why I tapped into the reverse light, which is right here, just using these little push taps. Now, also, you have the audio cable, or the video audio cable, or video, and you want to run that any way that works for you to your radio. You could run it underneath the carpet, you could run it around the thing, you could run it here. I believe I ran mine underneath this trim here, because I already had some cable over here, and then I just ran it, tucked it underneath the trim, and moved it and ran it pretty much all the way up to the radio on the edge of the carpet, between the trim and the carpet. There's many ways to get it up there, but anyway, you can get your camera feed up there. You only need the camera feed line to go up there. I believe it's an aux jack type plug. And of course, with this setup, it was not long enough, so I had to get an extension. So it was a female to male extension. I plugged those two together, and I was able to reach to the radio. Back in the car, and as mentioned before, I ran the cable to the front cabin underneath the center console thing. I was actually replacing the interior carpet at the same time. It made it a little bit easier, but of course, if you weren't, you probably could just run it under the carpet or underneath the trim pieces up through here, and then kind of feed it underneath the wheel well area up in here, because you do need to feed it up to the back of your radio. For this specific radio, it's going to be different. I'll post the diagram of this radio. You want to look at your own radio of where you need to plug into, and then you pretty much will plug into the, pretty much it will say the backup radio or backup camera adapter, and then there are some options of some things you can do with your camera. Now I will post that, and then yeah, that's just real quick overview of how I set up the backup camera on this specific car with this aftermarket radio. So yeah, maybe it'll be informative to give you just a general idea if you were thinking about wanting to do something similar but weren't sure how to approach it with a liftgate. Being an SUV, it is a lot more involved than with a car and a trunk, and something that didn't move when you of course with this, you lift up the liftgate, your camera goes up in the air, and so it's a lot more challenging to run the wires. So yeah, anyways, I have a lot more stuff coming for the Xploder. I'm going to do a transmission fluid change, filter change here shortly. I'm waiting for a set of quick jacks that I ordered, which will let me get underneath the car much easier than the ramp and more level, doing stuff where I need the car kind of level to work out a lot better. So I have that. I'm going to be changing out this, putting some interior, dress up trim stuff that's going to go on here. And when I replace this piece, it does replace my floppy vents. And yeah, and of course I added some nice stuff such as some dual USB ports here for charging. I do have this cool little trim piece that I added. This is actually for Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. This radio isn't fancy with the wireless. This has the hardwired, and so you plug this into your phone and you'll have the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto on your device. This will be a air fuel gauge here sometime soon. It used to be in there. It fell apart after 10 plus years, and someone put a new one in there. So I will be able to tune the car remotely and get appropriate logging data. So yeah, that'll wrap it up. Yeah, let me know if you'd like to see anything else with the Xploder, the Beastzilla Nissan NV3500, my ZL1 up there, my wife's Mustang EcoBoost, or the SSL Camino. So that'll wrap it up. Peace.